And why don't we go ahead and everybody who's going to be off screen can go ahead and stop your video now if you haven't already. And then candidates, can somebody give me the best phrasing for this forum? School District 25 Board of Education Forum? Do I want to be very formal with how I identify it? Okay. It's been written, you know, D25 forever, so saying it formally will be a little different. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click broadcast and we're on. Welcome to the School District 25 Board of Education Candidate Forum, hosted by the Arlington Heights Memorial Library and the League of Women Voters. We are so grateful that you're spending your Saturday afternoon with us and taking the time to get to know these candidates. As a reminder, this is the second of 3 forums that are happening today. So if you are still going to be watching with us through to the D214 Candidate Forum, you'll have a different link for that, and we'll drop it in the chat at the end. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting the library to participate in hosting this forum. It's very important for us to be part of making sure people have access to information and certainly to getting to know the candidates in this case. You're always welcome to come to the library to look for information on voting, on civics, and we do have some information at the address ahml.info/research/civics to get voting information anytime. During today's event, you will see 2 surveys. One is an attendance poll, and if you can fill that out when you see it, that helps us know how many people are here today engaging in their civic duty. You'll also see a short survey at the end, and that just helps us understand if this event met your needs. I'm very happy to let you know that we have an ASL interpreter with us. That duty will be shared by 2 wonderful interpreters, first Stacy and later Patty. There's also closed captioning available, so you will see that at the bottom of your screen. You can enable that and view that throughout the forum. And the chat will be reserved for any technical issues or to reach the panelists. There will be no chat for all attendees. Questions were welcomed in advance and can be texted throughout the forum. Without further ado, I'd like to pass to our MC for the day with the League of Women Voters, Lucy Nisi.
Thank you so much, and welcome to the Candidate Forum put on by the League of Women Voters of Arlington Heights. My name is Lucy Nisi, and I am from the League of Women Voters of Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, and Buffalo Grove area. I am also a member of our Emerging Leaders program and serve on our board of directors. If you use closed captioning, please turn it on via live transcript at the bottom of your screen next to the raised hand. You can click on that and then click on Turn on Subtitles. Founded in 1920 out of the suffragette movement giving women the right to vote, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are happy to provide this service for the community. To send in questions for the candidates, please text the number 224-306-9521 or email forum.lwvah@gmail.com. All of the candidates were contacted by email or phone prior to today. The candidates have agreed to abide by the ground rules provided by the League of Women Voters. They are as follows. Our moderator has drawn names for speaking order and will rotate this order during the forum for questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their introductions. Next, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer questions. At the end, each candidate will have a 2-minute closing. League members will act as timers. Candidates will be given a 30 and 15-second warning, so we ask that the candidates quickly complete their thoughts before they see the stop card. Time limits will be enforced out of respect for all candidates. Questions will be provided by the audience. Each question will be answered by all candidates, so please, audience, only ask questions related to the office being sought. Again, we can only use questions that can be answered by all candidates. Please send those questions to 224-306-9521 or email them to forum@lwvah@gmail.com. Questions will be reviewed by League members for clarity, appropriateness, and to avoid duplication. Candidates have been asked not to interrupt one another. The moderator will repeat a question if asked. The candidates are to speak to the audience. Now I'd like to introduce our moderator for today's event, Katie Bullis, also an emerging leader and a student at Olive Mary Stitt Elementary School.
Thank you. We will now start our candidate forum. We ask you to bear with us and note that the technology is what it is, and we are working to ensure this event runs as smoothly as possible. With me on screen, we have our candidates, our ASL interpreters, Stacy Shine Stapleton and Patty Shorcaden, and our timer league member, Diana Chrisis. I would like to note that the Q&A chat has been disabled for all attendees, so if you'd like to submit a question for the candidates, please text this number, 224-306-9521, or email forum.lwvah@gmail.com. We will start this forum with candidate Patel, candidate for the Arlington Heights School District 25 School Board. Candidates, please notice the timer. When you see the stop sign, you may finish your sentence. The candidates will be in the following order for the 2-minute opening statements. Candidate Patel, candidate Olanichek, candidate Scapilato, candidate Rausch, candidate Witherell, candidate Andrews, candidate Tranter, and candidate Faso. Candidate Patel, please begin your 2-minute opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I'm Anisha Patel, and I'm running for re-election to serve you as your District 25 School Board member. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and my favorite library for hosting this event. During this pandemic, I have witnessed students struggle, my own 4 children included. I have seen teachers and parents with tears in their eyes. I have also been inspired by our community's resilience. No mask could ever hide the kindness that showed us comfort through our drive-thrus and birthday parades. This year, we had to tread cautiously, faced with tough decisions, knowing that COVID has taken the lives of 500,000 Americans and 2.5 million global citizens. As your school board member and neighbor, I want to walk side by side with you on this journey of recovery to a moment when we have rebuilt our beloved school community. Emerging stronger will take experienced leadership, and education is my life's work. I have been a teacher, school administrator, and adjunct professor for over 25 years. I am currently pursuing my doctorate to research even further how to make K-12 education better. My sleeves are rolled up and I am raring to go. Now, more than ever, our students and school community need us. We are in a tough time and people are understandably divided over issues. I take seriously my ethical and moral responsibility to represent every voice. I will continue to put principles before personalities and balance the multiple perspectives with the science provided by public health organizations. To me, being a school board member is about serving with empathy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Olanichek, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Rich Olanichek, and I'm running for re-election to the school board. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, the Memorial Library, and those emerging leaders for co-hosting this event. Adapting the event in this type of forum for the community is wonderful, and it allows the community to be engaged in such an important democratic function, which is really voting and making that vote. My record and background speaks for itself. I'm a West Point grad, a veteran. I teach graduate level courses, thus possess the commitment, responsibility that is really needed for this role. This would be my 3rd term. And as I reflect on the year, I've learned so much from my colleagues, the teachers, the staff, but most importantly, have stayed true to what I thought was important for the district. And that is, what does the community want out of the district? Being a board member is more than just a time commitment. It's really looking at issues from different angles, from having a realistic, prudent, long-term approach to what is the impact of a decision and what it will mean for the long-term residents in terms of property taxes, in terms of education, and how the district evolves. You know, a board's primary purpose is being the voice of the community, and being that voice is what its expectations are for the schools and how they want their tax dollars invested. And per our board governance, we need to have an open two-way communication and not hide behind one-way communication. We represent the entire community, so we need to welcome diversity of thought and answer tough and direct questions and be held accountable to justify why we make certain decisions. You know, I buried my dad a year ago today. He immigrated to the country with nothing and instilled in me the importance of education and serving in support of what we believe in. For those reasons, I served in the military, I fly an American flag, and I serve on the board. Education is too important not to give it 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Scapilato, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
To the League of Women Voters and the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, thank you for hosting today. And to our moderator and all those behind the scenes, thank you for setting us up for success. My name is Greg Scapilato. I'm running for a seat on the District 25 School Board. I've been a teacher for 20 years. I'm actually a band director, and I can tell you my students are my passion. They're what get me up in the morning. And no, not every day is perfect in my band room, but they are what drive me to be a better teacher every day. And when I'm working with my kids, we're working toward a performance, we talk about serving a larger purpose. And sometimes that's really explicit, like a parade or a ceremony, but other times it's just the purpose behind the music we're performing for friends and family. And I'll come back to that in just a second. But with the pandemic, I know for me and probably a lot of you, there was a real shift, a new awareness in what matters in our lives. And whether it was because we weren't seeing friends and family like we used to, schools closed, or for me, I haven't had a concert in a year, and usually I'd have one every month. Well, also, I noticed some changes here in our district. There were challenges arising from the pandemic and leadership on key issues. So what I saw here is an opportunity to move from teaching students every day to serving students as a school board member, and thereby putting into practice what I teach our students about, and that's serving a larger purpose. So I think we can do this 3 ways, and they are by putting the focus on people, by building trust through transparency, and by working toward equity for all. And I look forward to talking about these issues in today's forum with you. Thank you for all of you watching. And thanks for being here.
Thank you. Candidate Roush, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
Hi, Katie. Okay, so I'm Katie Roush, and I'm running for school board, District 25. And a little bit about myself is I taught special education for 8 years. I'm currently kind of on a pause from teaching to be home with my 3 children. They're all at Ivy Hill, 5th, 4th, and 1st grade. And I started recently subbing when I saw that there was a shortage in the district. So I've been kind of getting involved in the buildings and seeing all the wonderful things that are happening, talking with our teachers, talking with our students, and it's been great. I am a candidate who is for our children. That is my focus. I have and will continue to always put our kids first, especially our student population. They need a voice on our school board, and I am that candidate. I have the background to help. I believe in a more inclusive environment, and I believe that our district needs to get there. I have worked on my candidates running the past couple of weeks. I've really been focusing on live Q&As. I've done meet and greets. I've done interviews with experts. I've talked to a local pediatrician. I've talked to a clinical psychologist this week. I've reached out to people in any way that I can, because it all comes back to the kids and supporting our kids. And that is my main priority and why I'm running for school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Witherow, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you to the emerging leaders present, as well as in the background, League of Women Voters and the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for hosting what turned out to be a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I'm Todd Witherow, Arlington Heights candidate for School District 25 Board of Education. Also, I'd like to thank the community members who are present today. I appreciate the fact that you joined on what is a beautiful day to hear from all 8 of the candidates and make sure that you're making an informed choice come April 6th. As a child of 2 parents who are both career educators, education has always been a passion of mine. I've stayed involved in education after receiving my MBA from the University of Chicago. Presently, I serve on the District 214 Foundation Board of Trustees. I guest teach at Buffalo Grove High School, and my family is also the proud sponsor of the annual Business Innovation Grant for a deserving District 214 team every year. Ensuring our children receive the best education possible for their future is critical and a passion of mine and my family's. I will continue to fight and advocate for our students and put our students first. But to open, I'd like to speak about why this election matters. This is an important race for all residents, regardless of whether or not you have a child in the district. 67% of our annual property taxes are spent to fund public schools. District 25 operates an $80 million annual budget, and property taxes are responsible for 83% of the revenues that the district receives. Some of the members today have called for marrying the salary schedules of Schedule A and B, addressing our aging facilities, as well as increasing compensations for teachers to ensure that we attract the best talent. All of these ideas sound great, but they all come at a cost, and a cost that the Arlington Heights community bears 83% of the burden for. As a community and as a taxpayer, next year we have some important decisions related to superintendent and teacher union contracts. Both will be renegotiated, and both of those require your trust to ensure that we put together a program and a contract that allows for our shared success of the community, the employees, and most importantly, our students in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Andrews, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
I want to first thank the League of Women Voters and the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for hosting this forum for us. My name is Melissa Andrews, and I am running for a seat on the District 25 Board of Education. I am a mom of 3 children, 2 of which go to Patton, and I also have a toddler. I have lived in Arlington Heights for 6 years. My husband and I moved here because we felt it was the best district to raise our kids. Even though I'm not an educator or work in an outside job, I'm a stay-at-home mom who is very invested in my children's education. I am running for a seat on the Board of Education because change needs to happen. The board's job, especially during the pandemic, is to balance the interests of students, teachers, parents, and the community to provide the quality of education for which Arlington Heights is famous. Our community has become divided because of the lack of trust. I want to restore that trust and integrity by listening and communicating to the administration, teachers, and most importantly, the community. I will practice best decision-making by doing my research and getting accurate facts from all avenues available to me. The board needs to get back to governing and do what is best for all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tranter, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you to the Arlington Heights Memorial Library and the League of Women's Voters for hosting us today. I appreciate being afforded an opportunity to introduce myself and tell you a little bit more about me as a candidate for the school board. My name is Deb Tranter, and my husband Scott and I have spent the last 26 years enjoying Arlington Heights. We have raised 2 adult children through the Arlington Heights schools. Our incredible Arlington Heights teachers and the rigorous differentiated curriculum were the building blocks that formed our children into the strong, independent adults they are today. I was serving on the PTA and volunteering both in the library and the classrooms at Dryden while working full-time in the corporate world when I recognized my passion was in education. At 40, I followed that passion and went back to school. Now, I myself have been a 5th grade teacher in the district for 12 years. I truly believe I am capable of serving as a voice for all students in Arlington Heights and serving as a voice for many. I would be excited and honored to have the opportunity to do so. I do believe that my professional experience speaks for itself. Previously 10 years as a director of human resources for Long Grove Confectionery, and as a member of that leadership team, recruiting, retaining employees in their payroll and benefit packages while ensuring fiscal responsibility. I spent the last 12 years in education, which is fed by soul. In addition to full-time classroom responsibilities, I served as a response to intervention leader and an intermediate team leader. I am extremely comfortable in leadership roles with a constructive attitude towards teamwork. That is my first priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Faso, please begin your 2-minute opening statement.
First, thank you to the library and the League of Women Voters for hosting the forum. And thank you, Katie, you are doing a great job. My name is Gina Faso, and I am currently seeking re-election to the school board. A little bit about me. My husband and I have lived in the district for 14 years, and we currently have 2 children attending Dryden Elementary School. My professional life, I've spent 20 years working for ACO Brands, and I am currently the Vice President of Global IT Governance. In addition to my day job, volunteer community service is very important to me. I've been involved with the ABC 25 Foundation, supporting the teachers in our district for the last 6 years. I also share my time with City of Hope, Ronald McDonald House, and the Wings Foundation. They're very all near and dear to my heart. Serving on the school board for me is an opportunity to give back to my community. My priorities continue to be, and I have continued to promote, strong programming for academics, arts, and activity. There's a lot of important work that needs to be done, as you've heard from some of the other candidates. I think that we have work for social emotional well-being of students, best-in-class curriculum, securing our financial future. I think it's important that we let our parents have a right to choose how they want to have their children educated, whether or not it's homeschool, in person, or remote. I believe we need an ability to create a path to success for every student in our school, and we need to have more opportunities for our students with diverse learning capabilities. I support full-day kindergarten, and I am here ready to listen to you, our community, on what you want for our schools and our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder, send questions to 224-306-9521 or email forum.lwvah@gmail.com. Candidate Ola Anichek has 1 minute to answer the first question. The question is, when do you think that the district should have a full in-person instruction available? What do we need to achieve this?
Thank you, Katie. So, one of the things you always have to balance in this type of decision is what are the operational issues within the school and what is the community's focus on moving back into that. Today, we're about 70% back in person. We're in person 4 days a week. We've taken a gradual step toward that, balancing the needs of all the children, ensuring that we can get in as quickly as possible. Our leaders have said that in person is one of the best ways for students to learn, but we must make sure we balance that to ensure that anyone who needs to be remote is getting the needs that they deserve and have. Our last surveys, over 70% of parents wanted to be in person full days. And I feel that with the next survey results that we'll get later on this week, even more, and that will help drive us to be full in person, not only for the rest of the spring, but into the summer and next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Scapilato.
So moving to full in-person, right now we're at 4 days a week, and our leaders in the school district have spoken eloquently about the need for reserving Monday for many different purposes that serve our children in our district. So right now we are looking at going full 5 days a week, starting with summer school. And it's important to remember that the reason we are at 4 days right now is because our teachers are teaching 2 modes at one time. And this is a result of a lack of urgency from the school board when we were entering the fall. And so if they had driven the discussion earlier on and set standards for when we were going to learn, when and if we would have a remote academy, or if we were going to be in person, we could have been in a place where we're ready to go to 5 days a week. So we're going to make the best of it and serve our kids and all our community with the tools we have available.
Thank you. Candidate Roush?
Hi, Katie. This is a great question. And, as an educator, and been subbing in the district, I can see that our teachers have been set up with extremely difficult school year. They are doing the best that they can, but it's hard to be successful in two different environments at the same time. However, looking at Mondays and looking at some things that concern me, this is what I will say. I'm concerned with Mondays. I feel that they are not measurable. I feel that they are very subjective depending on the school, the grade level, and the teachers. I think that we need to have our Mondays more objective. And I think that it needs to be consistent across the building. I am someone who believes in data. And right now I believe that 20% of our instruction is not measurable, and it is not going to help us when it comes to looking at data for next year and moving forward. So I understand that Mondays are needed. I think that they need to be fixed, and I think that it needs to be more consistent so that we can use it to really measure where we need to move forward.
Thank you. Candidate Witherow?
Thank you. Katie said 20%, and that's important because 4 days sounds like a lot, but really 20% of the academic time per week is spent outside of the classroom. And so I think the district should move forward to address that immediately. My opinion is that 70% of our families desire that consistently ever since the fall, and we need to find a way as a district to achieve that. Our district was able to get our teachers thankfully vaccinated, which allows us to be able to do that. And I think we need to go commit to doing it immediately after spring break, like a lot of the other surrounding districts are doing as well too. And one of the things that I think is also important about Monday matters. It matters for all of our students. It matters for the students who are remote, as well as the students and families who have chosen in-person education. And so what I implore the district to do is to understand and assess how Mondays matter for all of our students, and not just those students who have elected remote for their best, for the situations of their families.
Thank you. Candidate Andrews?
Thank you, Katie, for the question. I am a parent who has remote kiddos, and I see a huge difference in my kids on Mondays versus Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They engage, they learn, they participate, they're happy. The other days, my first grader is isolated, does not want to engage. And so I am for Mondays. And I think that that should continue through the rest of the school year to allow the remote kids to not feel further isolation. We also don't have the capacity to do a remote academy right after spring break. We have a sub shortage currently, and we would not be able to transfer kids from classroom to classroom because we don't have the accurate amount of teachers to do a remote academy. Thank you.
Could I just have a quick statement?
Say yes to the 30-second rebuttal.
Yes, a 30-second rebuttal.
And I'll be very brief. Thank you. Just one point to what Melissa said is, Lake Zurich actually is doing this. They did it brilliantly. Their Board of Education took the initiative, as well as the superintendent. They reached out to recently retired teachers, and despite the sub shortages and teacher challenges, they're moving to a remote academy and full in person 5 days a week by putting the kindergarten and first graders in 5 days and using recently retired teachers to help fill that gap for the remainder of the school year so that they can replan for the summer. So I think it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tranter?
Thank you, Katie. I agree with most of what's already been said by the candidates. 20% of the school week is spent remote right now. We saw a presentation on Mondays Matter. We know that we have greater than 1,000 students within our district that remain remote on a full-time basis. So thinking of the social emotional well-being of all students, I do worry that going to a 5-day schedule prior to June, when we're currently scheduled, would impact those that are still at home. What I would love to see is a draw to bring a greater amount of students back into the classroom so that the percentage is not so high. So looking at, as some of the candidates suggested, the data, if we can get a greater percent in, I think it is something that is workable at a faster pace, because I would love to see the social and emotional needs of all students met and to get our full-time schedule back as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Faso?
Thanks, Katie. So similar to what a lot of people have already kind of communicated, this past week we got information that was the more recent survey on what parents would like to choose for their children after spring break. I'm looking forward to understanding what that data brings, and if we have more students coming into in-person, or if we do have more students choosing to be in the remote capacity. I also agree that we need to do something to revisit how our families that choose the remote learning and the impact that it has on both the teachers and the students with splitting their time in the two teaching methods needs to be reevaluated. We need to make sure that we are meeting our high expectations for student achievement through quality instruction across all of our methods. From that perspective, I'm looking forward to the data, and I think that operationally, the in-person will be ready to go when it is appropriate to support our community to the best ability. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Patel?
Katie, as an educator for over 25 years, I believe schools is the best place for our students with safety mitigations in place. And I follow the guidelines of Center for Disease Control and IDPH. And I would love for our students to be in schools 5 days a week. And so would our educators, and all the teachers would be excited for everybody to be back. And, I have to say, our district from the get-go, right, during the pandemic, even I advocated for our students with special needs to be prioritized so that they began receiving in-person instruction right from September 1st. And then we started hybrid in October. And come January 21st, I voted for the metrics to make sure that our students were back in the school buildings. But when I make my decisions, I listen to all stakeholders, our parents, our students, our teachers. I've toured the buildings and listened to the perspectives of our educators. And that social emotional piece is so important, that to have all the whole community back together again. And we're realizing with this remote piece that there's an equity issue that we have to resolve as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Olanichek, you have 30 seconds for your rebuttal.
Thank you. One of the candidates recently brought up that remote academy, it's the board's fault that remote academy is not in place right now. Mind you, remote academy was offered back in July as an option. It was not pushed by the administration for a variety of reasons. The board then looked at and took more governance to say, these are the processes that we just talked. We want special needs. We demanded that those special needs students get involved into the school 4 days a week in November into December, and obviously going as many days as we can. We look forward to obviously having all kids in class.
Thank you. Candidate Scapilato has 1 minute to answer the second question. The question is, what are your views on funding and supporting special education in the Northwest Suburban Special Education Organization?
So I think when we're talking about special education in our schools, there's definitely an area we can be looking closer at. And that is providing more diverse and accessibility to special education services in each home elementary school. And that is a direction our district is moving right now. But if you're a parent that isn't in the loop, and even though there's lots of information that comes out, there's going to be a question about, how do I access these services? Who do I speak to? And so there's a communication challenge there that we have to address. And then from the board perspective, there's a funding and a priority perspective that we have to move forward to provide the best access for our kids in each elementary school.
Thank you. Candidate Roush.
This is a great question. I'm glad you asked it. This is exactly why I am running. So when we look at how we can provide services, we need to shift to a more inclusive setting. I believe, after talking with Dr. Bine and Dr. Lasowicki, the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, I met with both of them privately. I talked about my concerns. I've listened to the parents. I've talked to people in the community. Everybody knows that our special ed department is behind the state of Illinois. There's data to prove that. That is not okay. We need to move forward. I think that we have the support and the resources in our district. It's just a matter of reallocating them and putting them where we need to, home schools. If we move the student service staff per building and bring that to a bigger, stronger entity, I think that we can get into classrooms more. We can co-teach, we can team teach, we can train our teachers. I've talked to teachers, they want to support these kids in their classrooms. I believe that we have a lot of things already at our disposal to make this happen. It's just making it a priority.
Thank you. Candidate Witherow?
Yeah, Katie, could you just repeat the question real quick for me?
Yes. 1 second. What are your views on funding and supporting special education and the Northwest Suburban Special Education Organization?
Very good, thank you. So I think Greg and Katie hit on some really excellent points. And one of the things that I want to hit on real quick as well too is NSSEO. They provide a critical service for our district and for needs with special needs and more hands-on instruction. And I think the service that they provide is a great one. One of the pleasures I've had in attending and participating in every board meeting that's occurred this year, either in person or when over Zoom, is hearing Erin Johansson's updates related to NSSEO and some of the successes they've had with students there. And so that is something that I think is very important to us as a district. We're a smaller district, so we're not able to provide all of the services that our student ed needs have within our own buildings. And so in doing that, we need to partner with our local schools, with other organizations to make sure that we're providing the best curriculum to all students, regardless of what their abilities are.
Thank you. We will now switch ASL interpreters. Candidate Andrews.
Thank you, Katie. With two special needs kiddos, this is near and dear to my heart as well. I also have a friend who works for the NSSEO as a teacher, and I'm very, very grateful for the partnership that District 25 has with NSSEO to provide the education at Kirk and Minor for the most vulnerable kids. And so I would really be highly involved in the budgeting and different things like in that area, because that is near and dear to my heart. I do think that special needs in the elementary schools needs to take a step further, and we need to definitely work on that as a district for all inclusivity for our children.
Thank you. Candidate Tranter.
Thank you, Katie. I have listened to some of the responses and agree with you all so very much. The funding and supporting the programs and the with our school district is a priority for special education. I also have spoken with and had an opportunity and a pleasure to speak with Dr. Bine, Department of Student Learning, Dr. Fitzpatrick, and Erin Johansson on this very topic, both serving as a response to intervention facilitator and a team leader. I volunteered as someone to pilot a program for co-teaching and team teaching with special education in my classroom for reading as well as for writing. I am a strong advocate for co-teaching, and it worked very well. I think funding for training our teachers in this capacity would be fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Faso.
Thanks, Katie. So as I previously mentioned, I would like to see more accommodations and opportunities for all of our students with diverse learning. I think it's very important that we have this available in our schools for our families today. I do support the funding. I think a lot of the candidates have raised the great pieces around NSSEO and around the fact that we would need to support our teachers. I think that we have opportunities and that we need to look at our achievement gaps in this space And then we need to challenge ourselves and our administration to deliver a plan on how to improve the path to success for all of the children within our district, especially those that have diverse learning capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Patel.
And thank you, Katie. You know, first of all, I want to say with special education, I have been hearing the perspectives of our teacher parents and the frustration they have had with our special education program. And I continue to urge our district to improve our district special education. And as far as NSSCO, they are a jewel in our community and I support them. I actually personally attended a fundraiser by NSSCO, and being part of that collaborative is so important. I have also supported the allocation of more district funds to offer students a full continuum of special ed services. Our district level support was increased. We now have 5 district level members collaborating with our educators. We have additional specialists. We've hired reading and math interventionists. Extra funding allocation that I supported made possible the needed private placement for some of our students and professional development as well. And I completely support and want to urge our district to move towards inclusive practices for our students. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. Candidate Olonichek.
You know, as Todd mentioned, we currently, along with several other districts, support the NSSCO, which right now is housed in our minor school. We were fortunate to have this type of service capability within our district and community. However, as pointed out earlier, we need to continue to drive in-school and in-classroom services for all the students. This is an example of how we can drive inclusivity and create an environment that is inviting and can meet the diverse learning needs that these children possess. You know, when we took a look at self-reflection, though, there is a large achievement gap within the district when it comes to the specialty needs. Currently, as compared to the state average, the district has a higher achievement gaps by 14 percentage points. That is not acceptable, and these children have the same rights and abilities to reach their potentials. I feel we can partner with the community to further meet those needs of those special children and close that achievement gap, because really there should be no gap. They have the abilities and they can perform and meet their potential.
Thank you. Candidate Roush has 1 minute to answer this third question. The question is, there's a petition circulating in the community calling for removing school superintendent Dr. Lori Bine. Do you support removing Dr. Bine? Why or why not?
Sure. Is there any way that I can talk about I kind of wanted to mention something about being inclusive. Is that okay?
30-second rebuttal.
Yes, 30-second rebuttal.
Okay. To just kind of jump on what Rich said and what Deb said. Deb, I think that that's great that you were kind of piloting a co-teaching. I think that's amazing. When I taught as a special education teacher, the majority of my experience was co-teaching and team teaching. And I just feel like having more eyeballs in the room with expertise with how instruction is provided is more of a proactive approach to teaching. And it services not just only IEP kids, but at-risk kids. So when we talk about being inclusive in our schools, it's really the best practices of teaching, and it's just giving really good instruction to all of our kids, identified and unidentified. So I really hope our district moves in that direction.
Thank you. You will now have 1 minute to answer question 3. There's a petition circulating in the community calling for removing school superintendent Dr. Lori Bine. Do you support removing Dr. Bine? Why or why not?
I think that there are leaders of war and there are leaders of peace. And I feel that right now in a time of war, Dr. Bine needs to communicate better with her community, listen to parents, and do a better job of relaying information, because a lot of people since March have been extremely confused about what's been going on and has felt that our district hasn't been listening or supportive. Now, this is where I kind of started really paying attention to what was going on in our schools. I can't speak for where Dr. Bine was with things pertaining to our district prior to the pandemic. I will say, however, that our special education department has been not meeting standards, and it's been like that for a few years. So that's a big deal. So I would expect a leader to move forward in that area. I hope that she's on board for that. But if I'm looking at things that are going on or that have been going on for a couple of years, the pandemic was tough on everybody. We're all doing the best that we can. The special ed piece is concerning that we haven't really made much progress in the past couple of years. So that's something that I would look into for sure. Thank you.
Candidate Witherell?
Yeah, thank you. So the first thing I'd say in response to that question is I have not signed that petition. And what I think is what I would like to say is what I support though as well to the question is the right for the community to have free speech, the right for the community to petition and assemble as well too. So while I support the ability for the community to put the petition together, I have not signed it. One of the things that I would say is, to the question is while there is talks about division in the community, one of the things that I think there is unity in the community is we do all have a sense of lack of trust and transparency as it relates to communications and actions and decisions with the district. And for any leader who has a lack of trust or degraded trust, I think that's something that needs to be addressed and something that is very difficult to re-earn once it's been lost. And so that's where I would focus my conversations with Dr. Bine, if elected, is how we can either regain that trust or if we need to go look for other options. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Andrews?
Thank you for that question. I have seen the petition, but have not signed it. And I want to say that the pandemic has thrown everybody off kilter. And we just need to give each other some grace as far as how the pandemic responsibilities have been run. Nobody has been through a pandemic before. And with that said, there are things that I agree with that Dr. Bine has done for the students, and there are things that I disagree that she, has done. But we're all going to agree and disagree. We can't have it both ways. So I want to work with Dr. Bine if elected and gain that trust back that Katie and Todd has said, and see how we can further communicate to the community as a board and as a district.
Thank you. Candidate Tranter?
Thank you, Katie. While I agree with the other candidates that our community does have a right to assemble and a right to petition, I have not, as the other candidates stated, I have not signed this petition that we're speaking of. I think that I feel strongly we need to move away from this culture of criticism. We are a community divided by a pandemic, and while admittedly so many of us were displeased with the lack of decision-making that happened during the pandemic and with the school board, it is unfair to judge anyone in a position of leadership during an unprecedented time and during the pandemic. I would look forward to anyone in a position of leadership, if elected to the board, in repairing those divides and fractures that we're seeing in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Faso?
Katie, can I have you repeat the question, please?
Yes, 1 second. There's a petition circulating in the community calling for removing school superintendent Dr. Lori Bine. Do you support removing Dr. Bine? Why or why not?
Okay, so as a sitting board member, I'm going to provide input to this question, but I'm not going to answer that question as she is an employee of the Board of Education and I'm a sitting member. That said, first and foremost, I agree with everybody as it relates to the petition was definitely driven from the passion within our community. I think that it supports freedom of speech. I myself have not signed that petition. I will also offer that I agree with Katie. As a matter of fact, her and I have used very similar quotes in the past on Dr. Bine's leadership. Dr. Bine has been our superintendent, and she has an incredible record of achievements that she can sit on and point to in her performance. She's done amazing work with inclusion and diversity. And even during this pandemic, when we all had very different opinions on what we wanted and when we wanted, she sought out and ensured that our teachers were protected. They were vaccinated first, and then she also sought out to ensure that we had testing in our schools right away.
Thank
you.
Candidate Patel?
As a school board member, I 100% support holding the superintendent accountable. that being said, I've incorporated a robust evaluation system in collaboration with the superintendent, the Illinois Association of School Boards, putting in national standards. But bringing in, talking about a petition, and I completely agree with the right to petition. And I know that there are people on this panel who have signed that petition, and they have a right to do that. But it is my concern that after a year of crisis, it would impact student achievement to bring in a new superintendent and to start looking for a new leader. Our district is excellent because of our leadership. Our district went through a pandemic because of our leader holding our teachers and our students and our families having high morale during a year that has been so difficult for us, and to have survived this. So I strongly believe that stability is really important, but I hold everybody accountable, including school board members.
Thank you. Candidate Olenichek.
Thank you. So board members actually represent the community, and community members can use various means to communicate to us and provide their input to us. So therefore, I support the community's needs to assemble, to petition, and speak with their voice. I personally have not signed that petition. Raising our children is so important, and the pandemic has impacted us in our schools and our homes, and thus we have all different opinions on how we should move through this. And it's exactly in those times of uncertainty where a leader is best forward. The leader needs to move forward and communicate consistently the same message again and again. And for that, we need to hold not only board members accountable, we need to hold our superintendent accountable and continue to move forward based on the inputs that we're seeing. I think as we move forward, we will see better leadership. And it is exactly that our district has not moved forward fast enough in closing achievement gaps that causes us pause and to question where we need to go.
Thank you. Candidate Scapilato.
You know, when something like this happens with a petition like this, that's a signal to us, to those our leaders in our community, that the community is not feeling heard in their concerns. So regarding the petition, I did not sign it, but I recognize that there is an issue there in terms of how we are hearing the community's concerns. Regarding the superintendent, I would not advocate for removing a superintendent in the middle of a term. That's not going to serve any students or our community very well. But I do support 100% that we provide oversight over the superintendent, clear direction, and accountability measures that match our community's expectations for our schools.
Thank you. It is now time for closing statements. The candidates will be following order for 2-minute closing statements. Candidate Faso, Candidate Tranter, Candidate Andrews, Candidate Witherow, Candidate Roush, Candidate Scapilato, Candidate Olenichek, and Candidate Patel.
Katie, before we start, could I do a 30-second statement?
Yes.
Thank you. I also want to say that a petition does signal for us, it's an accountability tool, and it does signal us to stand up and say, okay, there's an issue here and we have to continue to address it. But all constructive feedback is good, and accountability is 100% good. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tranter?
No, Candidate Faso.
Candidate Faso?
You now have 2 minutes.
Thanks, Katie. You did a great job. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. With 8 candidates, I think that we were a little bit limited in the depth to which we could respond and provide our feedback, as it has become very clear that as a community, we are very passionate about our children. We are very passionate about education, and there are a lot of things and opportunities in front of us as we continue to have high expectations for student achievement delivered through quality instruction by our teachers. I'd like to close. I want to offer up that I am always willing to meet, talk, and communicate with all of our community members on your schedule and via your preferred communication method. We need to keep the gateways for our parents, our students, our staff, and our teachers' voices to be heard and represented when it comes to our schools and our students, not only today, but in our future. I support open and transparent channels of communication between our school district and the Arlington Heights community. I'd like to thank the library and the League of Women Voters. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts with you all and with the community. To the viewers, let's connect. Reach out anytime, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. My last statement, if you really want to make a positive impact, voting is a really great place to start. Support the candidates and all of the ballot measures that are important to you. Gather information through venues like the League of Women Voters and the library that shares all of the candidates' positions on all of the important topics. Make your voice heard in these elections. And of course, I would appreciate your vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tranter, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Katie. And I agree with Gina. You have done an incredible job. Thank you. I believe it is the duty and responsibility of the Board of Education to connect with the community, our teachers, and provide the best education for our students. We all want what is best for all students. I believe that our current board has lost that connection. Due to the current and obvious fracture in the school board, the Arlington Heights community has become divided. They need to come together to focus on what is best for all students. We need, as the community, the families, the teachers, to come together to focus on students for what is best for School District 25. I believe if elected as a member of that board, I can help to mend the divide, to move forward. I am running to serve as a voice for all families, for all students, to help us work towards a better future in Arlington Heights. I was recently reminded of a quote by RBG that resonated with me. If you want to be a true professional, you will do something outside of yourself, something to repair those tears in your community, something to make life a little better for those a little less fortunate than you. That is what I think a meaningful life is. One lives not just for oneself, but for one's community, which is why I am running for this seat on the Board of Education. To serve as a voice for families, for students, would be a privilege for me. I would be honored to procure. I would be honored to be a voice for School District 25. I also agree the best way that we can serve our children in our community is to express our voice and to go out and vote. So I hope to have your vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Andrews, you have 2 minutes.
My top priority, if elected, is to restore the trust and integrity back to the community, and most of all, doing what is best for our students. With that said, I want to immediately offer the ability to connect with the community starting today. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you have to say, good or bad. And that's what matters. And I would continue, if elected, to do that. I believe change needs to happen now. So I am asking for your vote on April 6th so I can bring a fresh mindset to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Witherrow, you have 2 minutes.
Thanks, Katie. Great job. And thanks everybody for hosting this. If elected, I will ensure our shared success of the community, of the employees of the district, but most importantly, our customers, which are the students. The top 5 opportunities that I will focus on if elected are more educational opportunities for all children, including full-day kindergarten, increased transparency and communication from the board and the district, professional success and experience that I've had for 17 years through the 2022 superintendent and teacher union contract renewals, free from bias and free from conflict, transitioning our pandemic response into an opportunity for our district and our students, as well as increasing our partnership with the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, the Park District, and other organizations. However, we cannot do everything and anything at all costs. The investments we make in our schools must have clear expected returns measured primarily through academic achievement of our students, ensuring they are prepared for success after District 25. You should hold me accountable if I'm elected to serve you, and if elected, I will hold the district accountable. One hope I do have for this election is that we see higher voter turnout. In 2019, only 4,400 votes were cast out of 36,000 eligible voters. The vote impacted all 36,000 individuals, yet only 12% voted. One positive we've had over the last 12 months is a much greater interest and awareness in our local elections in our school district. I truly hope we see over 33% or 12,000 votes cast this year, not just in the District 25 race, but for all races. I hope today was an opportunity to learn more about me and one that will move you to reach out to me so that you can understand who I am and what I will bring to you, the voters in the community. Voting for me is a vote for ensuring our shared success. I'll be a good steward to the community and to your property taxes. I will enable our district to recruit, reward, and retain the best staff to develop the curriculum and deliver the instruction. And I'll ensure that we are accountable to continuously improve the academic success and social emotional development of our students and the children. Please vote for Todd Witherow to move Arlington Heights forward and ensure our shared success, the success of the community, employees, and most importantly, our students.
Thank you. Candidate Roush, you have 2 minutes.
Thanks, Katie. You've gotten a lot bigger since I saw you last. So my tagline is, Katie for kids. Vote for me because I will put your kids first. That is my priority as a parent. That is my priority as a teacher. That's all I've ever done. You see it now as I'm a candidate running. I'm out in the community. I'm talking with parents. I'm meeting with them in person. I'm meeting with them virtually. I'm meeting with our administrators. I'm doing everything I can now, and that will continue if I'm elected. I'm a people person. I'm a collaborator. I always have been. That's what I want to serve for you guys on the board. I have the unique opportunities and experiences to look through the lens and to take all of the concerns of our students, especially the ones who don't have a voice right now with our special needs population. They have not gotten the needs that they need in this district. I understand that our district is doing some great things, but this is an area of need, and every administrator in this district agrees with that. You need somebody like me with my experience and background to help on the board, to ask the tough questions and clarify what we're doing and saying who's benefiting from what we're doing, how much does it cost us, and when will we see growth? Let's look at our assessments, drive our instruction, and let's just move forward. I want to be elected because I have a lot of great ideas on how we can service all of our children, and if elected, that's exactly what I'll do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Candidate Scapilato, you have 2 minutes.
All right, well, to our Arlington Heights Memorial Library and League of Women Voters, thank you for hosting today. And to Katie and all those behind the scenes, thanks for your work to make today a success. To our voters watching, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you on just a few of the important issues facing our community. I'm asking for your vote so that we can lift up our community and strengthen our schools by putting the focus on people, which means putting students first and listening to all the voices in our community, doing the hard work to build consensus. By building trust through transparency, which means better accessibility by the board to receive community input, and acting from a place of mutual respect so that we set the proper tone, the positive tone, when working with our teachers and administration. And finally, working toward equity for all, which means putting in place concrete qualitative measures to evaluate and address issues related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and working for greater integration and availability of student special education services at each elementary school. And finally, pursuing full day kindergarten from an equity standpoint, seeking to build a program that is sustainable, accessible to families at all income levels, and hosted in each elementary school. We have important work to do, and I'm ready to serve a larger purpose representing you, our community, and working for the best education for our children. Early voting starts on March 22nd. Election day is April 6th. My name is Greg Scapilato, and I'm asking for your vote. Thanks, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Candidate Olenichek, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters, the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, Katie, to you, Lucy, and all the folks working behind the scene to make this happen. I'm really honored to be among these fine candidates, to be in front of you, the voters, for your choice to help really move the district forward. I grew up in Arlington Heights. I graduated from Hersey. I returned here to start and raise a family. The community is very giving and supportive of our schools. I've learned that. I've seen that. I myself have been a part of that. It takes a village to raise a child, and we are the village of Arlington Heights. So having joint planning sessions with the trustees, the park districts, the Memorial Library, and true two-way interactive sessions with the community is the way we'll have the diversity of thought and the inclusivity that we all want and need to move the district forward. So please, as even Gina mentioned, please feel free to reach out to me so that we can engage in that two-way type of communication and I can better understand your needs. We have challenges in front of us. We must continue to have the community's engagement to solve these problems. Special needs, full day kindergarten, and closing the achievement gap will not only due to COVID, but to ensure that all children reach their potential. We need to do this while keeping our taxes in check and really having a long-term approach to our financials and investment areas. It's a balancing act. If the community, our customers, like the education we provide, they will be willing to invest. If they don't, they'll look to alternatives. District 25 needs to be that preferred choice. On the professional side, I work with data. And in that area, I've learned two important things. You cannot look at tomorrow's challenges based on how you think you're doing things today. In 2006, we never dreamt that a device called the iPhone would revolutionize how we communicate and interact. And secondly, my high school biology teacher told me, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know. Therefore, we need to ensure that we measure and accurately gauge our progress, our goals. You can learn more about me on Facebook at Onward with Olin Echek or online at Arlington Heights Forward. Please vote for the candidates of your choice, and I hope that I am one of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Patel, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Katie. 4 years ago, when I was sworn in as your school board member, I took an oath to serve the District 25 community, and I stand by this every single day. In my second term, I will work to equip our learners with 21st century skills, which means constantly asking ourselves, are we meeting the needs of every child? Can our students think critically? Being raised multilingual in Africa, I also see the importance of global mindedness. Do our students meaningfully connect with people from other cultures? These are all growth opportunities. Secondly, I believe accountability is key. Fiscal responsibility, helpful communication. This year has further shown the importance of ensuring that every leader, including the superintendent and our school board members, display disciplined action within their roles. Additionally, we must expand services and responsibly fund programs like full day kindergarten. Finally, I am all about partnerships and creating a sense of belonging for all. During a crisis, collaboration is even more important, and I strive to maintain open conversations with all stakeholders. We must also ensure that everyone in our district feels at home in a culture of mutual understanding and respect. All children deserve to thrive at our schools. I keep getting asked, why would you want to run for school board during one of the most challenging times? Believe me, I have thought about this, and the social issues that this crisis has unearthed only strengthen my resolve. I am grateful for the endorsement of the Daily Herald and so many students, parents, residents, educators, and elected officials from every local agency. I am devoted to serving you, and I, Anisha Patel, ask for your vote now through April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for attending this candidate forum. I will now return to our MC Lucy.
Thank you to Katie for being our moderator. You did a great job. Please make sure to register to vote, make your plan to vote, and then make sure your vote is counted this election day. Do you need help? League of Women Voters, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove is here to help. Sorry. The Arlington Heights Memorial Library is also here with plenty of resources to help you vote, including online registration, mail-in vote information, planning your ballot, as well as early and day of polling locations. You can check out our website at www.lwvah.org for all of that. You can find our amazing library at www.ahml.info. Again, check us out at www.lwvah.org and follow us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We even have accounts specifically for youth. That one is at student.lwvah and a mascot at Pause for Votes. And make sure that once you're ready to vote, you tell 10 friends where they can find all the information they need to be counted. www.lwvah.org. We are grateful to you all for joining us and to our candidates, Olinichuk, Patel, Faso, Roush, Witherow, Andrews, Scapilato, and Tranter, because our democracy relies on citizens willing to run for office. We are grateful to our ASL interpreters, Stacy Shine Stapleton and Patty Shore-Caden, and to all of the volunteers of our league who work tirelessly to bring you this free program. Thank you again for attending and have a wonderful day.